Hello, everyone. Welcome to another live stream on my channel. And this is a very special live stream. I can see a lot of excitement already in the chat going on. Many people have joined us, and I can see the excitement. I can see how excited you are for this particular live stream because we are here to understand more about the GitHub Campus Experts program. We are having an EMA. And guess what? We have a very special guest joining us, right? And before inviting the guest, I would definitely love to see the excitement once again in the chat. I already observed that many people were already waiting, like 1 hour before the live stream even started, and that's like super awesome. So I'm pretty much excited to discuss more about this program and know more about your questions so that we can answer all of them in this live stream because at the end of the day, this is an AMA. So let us bring some of your favorite emojis in the chat and let us understand how excited you are. I can see like already more than 40 people are watching now, and that's pretty awesome. So I look forward to answer all of your queries with our special guest tonight. So yeah, without a further ado, let me just quickly invite Juan Pa. Awesome. Hey Juan Pa, how's it going?
Hey, all good. How's it going? I'm very happy to be here. Love your chat though. Like people are really happy about this live stream, so really looking forward to see how things go.
Yeah, definitely. I'm personally also very excited and looking forward to interact with you and answering all of those queries with our which our students from community have. And yes, people are quite excited about this team as well and loving it. Thanks a lot for first of all at very first place, accepting my invite and joining us for this live stream tonight. It's an honor to have you here.
Yeah, I mean, it took us like 3 months to get this set up. We went through a ton of reviews before we actually scheduled these, so it was a very tough path to get to this stream today.
It was, but not actually. Everyone watching us, it was like very instant, and I was just daydreaming about having this team and thought of why not approach one and he was very generous enough to, you know, quickly just accept the invitation. So honored to have you here, and I can already see people are waiting to hear more from Juan Pass. So if you can just quickly introduce yourself to our audience. I understand, we do not at all need introduction from you, but for anyone who is totally new, I would love to know more about you.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'm Juan Pablo Flores. I'm a program manager at the small but mighty GitHub education team, where my job is to support students through the GitHub Student Developer Pack and through the GitHub Campus Expert program to get all the skills, all the tools that you folks need to have a successful career in tech. And one of the programs that I manage is the beautiful GitHub Campus Expert program that I know a few of you might be aware of. We are open applications very, very soon. I think we're less than 24 hours before that happens. So starting to feel the pressure. Probably it's going to be noticeable in the stream, but definitely we are looking forward to talk about all the questions that you have about the program. I know it's there's a few myths about how to apply. There's a ton of guides, but I do appreciate the time to just go around and talk about like how the application works from this side of the world or this side of the application process and letting you know how can your application be as successful as possible.
Definitely, we'll try 100% to clear all your queries around the program. And if in case you have any questions, feel free to drop your questions in the chat, and we'll be love to answer all of them. And I really love everyone putting that red flags in the chat.
Yeah,
That makes us feel so good.
there was this very old tradition even before I joined the GitHub education team where all of our kind of like products and programs should be um, able to be mentioned through emojis. So I'm very happy that
Mm,
you folks found the red flag emoji. Not a lot of people know about the existence of that emoji. It's not like something you would normally take out during a conversation, but of course, very happy to see that folks know about it and that is now part of the stream.
Definitely, that's awesome. And one more interesting fact I would like to reveal over here. I'm not actually reveal, but I heard this from Juan itself way back in GitHub Satellite, and GitHub Campus Experts celebrates fifth anniversary in
This
2021.
month, this month, it is. Well, it's kind of like a very funny story because the first campus expert or the story of the program was probably not very common as kind of like other how other programs get started. So in the case of the GitHub Campus Experts program, the program started as one when like 5 years ago there was an intern here in the GitHub education team, and John Bryden, who at the time was kind of like managing all things education for GitHub at that time, he met with this very cool student that was doing amazing work. He was working with communities. He was coding plugins for Atom, which at that time Atom was kind of like the real deal. And the question that Joe and John asked themselves was, how can we have more students that are just like this intern? And they started talking with him. They kind of like get to know his story and how he started to build his own community on school, how he got involved with tech, and kind of like what was the impact of in general like a community during his career. And that's why the campus expert program was built. Like we wanted to support more students to be just like this intern that was doing amazing work even though he was still a student. But like it's hard as a student to sometimes kind of like find that support from someone from the school, from a teacher, or even support by a company. So that's why the campus expert program was born. It was to we know like there's a ton of people that are super talented and that have been working a lot with their communities, and they just need like that very small push or that very small help from someone to be able to take
Yeah.
that community to the next level or to support even more students. So I mean, I'm going through the weeds here, but at the end, I think the program has been keeping that same vibe of that first campus expert and kind of like that objective that the program was built with.
Mhm.
And I think it's been like very successful. Well, it's not like I managed the program, but and I might be biased, but I think the program has had a ton of very well or very good impact in students' life as they get involved in the program.
Yeah, definitely. That's something, I have also wondered many times to know more about it, because it really becomes essential for one to understand that how it all started and what was the motive to begin, such programs. And it has been quite a wonderful program for many folks out there. It has changed life, it has helped thousands, and like even more than that. I don't even have the exact number, but that has been an inspiration, source of learning, and source of opportunities for many of like other people like us. So fantastic on top of that. And just to continue what you were saying, would you like to tell our audience more about what GitHub Campus Expert program is all about? What, why should student care about it, and why should they apply, or just
Yeah,
head over to know more about it?
I mean, we talked about it a little bit before, uh,
Hmm.
but at the end, what we want to do is we want to help students to like building a community, especially on a time where everything is virtual, is very easy. Like you can easily open a Discord server, you can start a Facebook group or wherever platform you would like to use to grow a community. But what is really hard is that no one actually tells you some tips on how to build community, right? And uh, I think for many folks that are getting involved and that really want to have an impact is very hard to get started when you don't have, especially for people that don't live in one of these big cities where you have a very vibrant tech ecosystem. If you don't have someone close to you that can help you out um, to start a community or to grow a community on your campus, then it becomes kind of like a very trial and error process of learning how to communicate and with folks, how to keep the community engaged, and all of those challenges that we currently see. So if you're if you're a student community leader that right now probably you there's we noticed that we had like two different groups of students applying to the program, and one of them were students that were um, getting a program from a community from other students. Like the community was already there, probably it was inactive, probably it was very active, and they want to continue organizing events and doing the amazing work that these folks were doing. And the other group that we had was students that were getting started with communities in their campus. And these two kind of like groups have very different needs. One of them is, I need to start establishing a mission for my community. I need to know what struggles I'm solving with my community. And the other group is kind of like, how can I sustain the community? How can I make it grow? How can I make improvements? And what's the plan that I need to build to do that? So at the end, what we wanted to do with the GitHub Campus Expert program is for you, if you don't have an idea of how to start a community on your campus, or you already have one and you want to grow it, we built or we have a training that will help you out to set up like goals and kind of like plan how you can support students in your community that will be in a very valuable way for the people within that community or that college, so that you're not only kind of like throwing events just to throw events, but you're actually helping the students in your community to grow and to learn skills that might be valuable by the industry or that might be helpful for them before they graduate.
Definitely, that's something really essential, and also, it becomes so easy for someone who really wants to do something, who really wants to, bring that change, and are, getting some negativity around themselves or some struggles, which are not allowing them to do the same and not allowing them to fulfill their motive. So, Campus Expert program is something which has really given push to all these leaders who wanted to make a change in our creating today with the help of this program. And I definitely second that thought. And I can see a lot of questions in the chat as well. So just summarizing all of those, there have been, one major question which many of the students ask me, that what is the eligibility criteria, like, like who can apply to this program, or what it takes to just go ahead and click on that apply button. Is there any prerequisites around that?
Yeah, we have a list of let's call it like minimum requirements, and basically what we look for with these requirements is, first of all, validate that you're a student. So to like the first and like step zero of this whole process is that we need to validate that you're a student, and the way that we do that is through the GitHub Student Developer Pack. So if you apply to the Student Developer Pack, then you should have kind of like a very straightforward process to the application. But if you still don't have the Student Developer Pack, now is the right time to start applying for it. Um, we so that's kind of like the first minimum requirement. The second one is we need you to be at least to have at least 1 year before you graduate, and this is kind of like more for us to guarantee that you're going to be able to take the full advantage of the program, which I would normally say, like, if you're like 2 years in the campus sector program, you will get all the benefits and everything that the program can give you. And we need you to be 18 years of age, study in any higher education institution. And I would say that would be kind of like the only requirements that we have. So we don't have any issue with having, for example, students that are their first year in college, or as long as you are not graduating in less than 12 months, everything should be like good to go.
Yeah, definitely. That sounds awesome. And I've also shared the link to GitHub Student Developer Pack in the chat. So make sure you go ahead, make sure you are having that, so that, GitHub can identify you as a student, because this program is specifically for students. And if you are a student, you do not need to worry at all about it, unless and until you are in less than 12 months
Mhm.
before you graduate. So you need to be at least, in third year, and not in fourth year, to be precise.
Yeah.
But yes, apart from that, we do have very less eligibilities around that as well, as Juan mentioned. So you do not need to worry about a lot of things. Just have a check mark on few things and you're good to go. So be stress free around that.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh,
So yes, Juan.
Oh yeah, I would highly recommend to go through the Campus Experts website. A ton of kind of like these questions are solving in the landing page. So, for example, if you'd like to know more about like, hey, can I submit in other languages? And right now, unfortunately, we only have reviewers on that know English, for example. So reviewing applications in other languages are is not possible right now, but definitely uh, is something that we see in the application process that some folks either like upload applications in other languages that are not English. So just keep an eye on that as well.
Yeah, definitely. Like on the website, it's precisely mentioned everything. So feel free to go ahead and check out the website, all the complete details. We do have some great people featured on the website as well with a video over there from our past campus experts, and that's awesome. Cool. Now I'll jump onto the one of the most demanded question. When I
Oh
was
my god.
conversing with students, when I was conversing with students, and they were like, "Okay, I'll apply to that, but tell us how can I be, a shiny applicant? How would I be someone who can straight away get picked up, or what is
Mhm,
something which I should do to become a good applicant? So let us talk more about like what a good applicant looks like. I know it's a tough
mhm.
question, but we can definitely talk about it.
Yeah, definitely. Well, there are like multiple parts that our kind of like team reviews, and for something to consider is that we go through thousands of applications every time that we open these cycles, and what we notice is that there's a lot of kind of like the same narrative, which a lot of people can like take it from our website, or someone else told them like, hey, put these in the first answer and then magically you'll get selected, which unfortunately does not happen. And we do see a lot of kind of like same text coming into the application. So my first tip on that would be, if someone tells you like copy paste these, or if you see a guide and they are like, yeah, I wrote that my community is XYZ and that's why I got selected, then you won't be the only one submitting the same text or the same kind of like style of narrative. And we do notice that a lot when we open applications, and it's very unfortunate because we know there's a lot of value in there, but since we are getting kind of like the same story that they kind of like learn from someone else that might work for the application, we unfortunately we're not able to kind of like move forward with those applicants. But definitely my my biggest piece of advice would be to uh have very genuine responses, and kind of like explain us what is very unique, not only about you but also about your community, like what drives your community to organize events. And I understand kind of like the struggles are very similar, but when we find someone that has a deep understanding on why a community is important on their campus and why they are solving some of the struggles that their community is facing, that's when we know that that student actually knows the problems that uh, other students are facing, and there's a bigger possibility that the student will know also how to respond to those struggles. So the impact of the program in that campus will be broader than just like someone that probably doesn't have a deep understanding on why a community is important on their campus. Let's say like this year we changed the questions so that make more we could be more precise with what we were looking for. And so I mean, you see that you were part of like the last batch of applications, but we kept kind of like asking about the community, their goals, what are the struggles, and how can you fix them. We added two new questions, so we removed two of them. One of them was the experience, which it was fun reading the experience, but unfortunately we didn't get kind of like the details that we wanted to read. So now what we did is we wanted to know. So the second question is about knowing how, or how, what will the GitHub Campus Expert programs enable you to do in your community that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise. And this is kind of like for you to reflect on why do we need a campus experts, or why do you need to become a campus expert to better support your community. And the last one, which is kind of like more on the inclusion and diversity side. So we wanted to know why do students believe, or why should community leaders should strive for building inclusive spaces, even if they are online or offline. And I would say that for me, so there are like a few things, right? So first of all, don't copy paste anything that you see in the internet. I know it is kind of like weird when you're applying to programs, but definitely when we can kind of like read and feel the aura of the application when someone puts a very genuine interest on why they want to become a campus expert, and how that's going to impact their local community. And so for those cases that we can like read that the program will be having a major impact on their community, those are kind of like the ones that we can like look forward to move to the next phase of the application process. So a big part of that is, of course, kind of like if you have a campus expert close to you, or if you're in a Discord server or in a WhatsApp group where there's one, I would highly recommend just like reaching out to them and getting to know more about the work that they do, and kind of like their experience in the program, so that you can get the full scope of kind of like what are people doing within the inside of the program, and that you can do as well when you apply, or kind of like proposes you apply.
Definitely, that all of that was a great piece of advice, and you know, I personally could just relate a lot with whatever you said, because I still remember I got to know about this program when I was in my first year. Harshil Agrawal, who is now an alumni, so he came to our campus for one of our events which we were hosting back then, and I saw that red flag, the hoodie, and I asked him that what is it. So he introduced me about this program, and shared with me what are the different things which a campus expert does. So I was very curious, and I was like, I want to explore this, I want to know more about it. And I
Mm-hmm.
straight away, without thinking anything, being a curious kid at that moment of time, I just straight away applied, and I wasn't knowing what it is all about. And I the the speed at which I applied, I also got the rejection mail. So then I started understanding more about it, because then lately I realized, no, this is something really big. I need to work on myself first, and not just straight away. I need to understand why am I applying. As you mentioned, you need to understand your motive. What is something you would be able to do after you become a campus expert, and not otherwise. So I started working on that. I started networking with such people, interacted with more of campus experts and people involved in the program, understand the crux of it, and then reapplied. I got accepted, but then program got updated. So I also got more time to understand more about my community members out there, the shared struggle you talked about, inclusivity, and more of that. And everything
Yeah.
helped a lot, for me to become better version every time I applied. So finally, the last application this year, which I applied in the February cohort, and that was something I was, super proud of myself that I was able to get through that, because February 2019 and February 2021, the 2 years have been a lot of uh, with a lot of learning opportunities for me as well. And Campus Expert truly, gave me that push. Otherwise, I would not have done that. So definitely, and y- yeah, the point you talked about, copy pasting. I also feel like, when someone does that, they essentially loses the originality and the motive behind, like, why they were actually gonna apply. So
Yeah,
definitely,
I
I
remember
think that,
you uploaded your application video to kind of like your video
yeah.
resume. I was just like, please tell people not to do the same thing as you did, because I know they're gonna try to do the same thing.
Yeah, I remember, that's the reason we added the disclaimer as well. So that is important. Everyone have different journey, everyone have different stories, right? And
Yeah,
you might have different shared struggles.
but I actually like that you mentioned kind of like the journey to get there, and I would say there's a very weird understanding of these programs where people don't feel like, I notice when someone prepares for the application process. So you can see that when they apply and when they submit their application, and I think it's very very visible to kind of like in the same way when you apply to an internship, right? Like you
Hmm.
study your data and data structures and algorithms, and you prepare kind of like 2 to 3 months before to at least, right? Because like generally speaking, I would say like if you want to apply to an internship for an internship, you should be like practicing all the time and making
Hmm.
sure that you keep yourself updated and keep yourself fresh with all things computer science. But the same thing applies to the GitHub Campus Expert program. Like being able to, I remember you reached out to me on Discord one day and you were like, "Hey, my
Yeah,
application got rejected. I want to know why," or something like that. I was just like, oh," and but I do believe that the fact that kind of like when you apply, we notice kind of like that experience and all the work that you have done before, and I think that's kind of like the best way to prepare to the program. Just like don't expect sometimes we have that expectation of just like applying and then probably we'll get there, but the people that are being selected lately, they have done a little of pre-workout before jumping into the application process, and I think that's why we also open the application for a month so that you
hmm,
can have like the time to jump in, see what the questions are, probably go back, rethink, and apply. Or if you are kind of like just for it, you can, if you already know what you're going to answer, then jump it into it and apply to the program. But definitely, I do believe that kind of like practicing or doing some work before the application is a great way to get yourself in there.
definitely. That's a great point. Awesome. Let's pick some questions from the live chat. I see there's one from Ritvik. Yes, I guess this is also mentioned on the FAQ section, but it's like does a like more than one student is selected from
Um,
a single college?
that is a great question. Generally speaking, we do have a preference on not having more than one campus expert in each college. And this has to do with having a more democratized access to this to the benefits of the program. So if we have, unfortunately, if we have like 10 people from the same college, then the impact that the program is having and kind of like the accessibility that we're having has some sort of struggle there, because we have same applicants from the same college, and what we want to do is kind of like support the students from multiple colleges and from colleges that even like probably don't have anyone belonging to one of these programs. So the whole idea behind having one campus expert per college is for us to also make sure that we're distributing campus experts through multiple colleges so that multiple people can get benefited from it. It depends a lot as well on the size of the college. We understand that there are colleges that are like 300 people as a total, but there are like some huge college with 300,000 students, and as we want to avoid campus experts kind of like being in that position of, like getting so many requests that they're not able to support their community anymore or get overwhelmed or burn out from doing community work. So or supporting their communities. So in those cases where we see that there's a lot of events and a lot of interactions and kind of like we start to see it's very visible from our side when a campus expert is overworking and we just like doing too much for the community, and we want to make sure that you folks graduate at some point. So in those cases is when we decide to open more, let's call it them slots for the program. And uh and that has been very successful for some colleges in where they have multiple schools. So we have someone, let's say there's a student in the school of engineering and someone else in the school of science or something like that, because our communities are very different as well. So that's kind of like the reasoning behind the one student per college. We're able to grow that, but we need to we don't particularly like that. We prefer to expand to multiple colleges, but there's some cases where we know there's a ton of interest, and we want to be able to support students from that college more than with more than one campus expert.
Yeah, definitely. Also, one more common question: can a second year college participate? Yes, of course. Like anyone who is, having more than 12 months before they graduate, they can definitely apply for the program.
Yeah,
Interesting question. Many people do get confused between this. Is it just community focus, or do we need technical knowledge? What is it actually? So,
we we do whiteboard interviews as part of the program. Now, I'm just joking. We don't do any technical interviews. um, the thing is that community leaders don't necessarily are the tech lead on their college, or does not necessarily mean that you are the one that knows the most about like algorithms and data structures. So we understand like, and also we want to be super clear that in the program we don't only have like people that come from technical background, but also people that don't have a technical background but they are extremely passionate about building communities and technology. So we don't do any technical checkup. We don't jump to your repositories and see that everything is commented or that there's documentation to your repos. We actually care more about the work that you want to do beyond technical, because we know, like, of course, technical communities are very much based on coding, but there is so much more in any student community. There's a lot of, I think lately we've seen a lot more movement into the soft skill side of the world. Uh, I don't know why. Probably some colleges don't teach you soft skills. Probably I also know that interviews and kind of like all that wondrous world of interviewing for companies, being able to communicate, being able to um, just like work in a team goes beyond technical skills. So that's why we don't put a lot of attention, or we don't put any attention actually to kind of like your coding skills or your or the technical stuff. If you are doing great community work, that's like all that we want to know and learn about.
awesome. And I personally, when I started of thinking to apply, one of my reasons to apply was because uh, GitHub do supports community out there, and makes, like, give them resources to host events and help out peers and with different technical material as well, altogether mentorship and so much more to that. And even on top of that, you get trained for doing all of these things. So even if you are thinking of doing something and not sure how to go ahead, so that is something you should definitely keep in mind, that GitHub do gives you that training with different modules, and that is something really really helpful, not just for this program, but outside this program as well. You'll be like trained for lifetime. The value which you gain in this program is something which will be very very helpful to you in rest of your life as well. So that is something really awesome as well.
Yeah, I think one of the cool things about the program is that you don't become kind of like the tech lead on your school, but you actually become someone that people can reach out if they have questions around uh, the technical side, the non-technical
Mhm.
side, career-wise, how to apply to programs, how to submit a call for talks or for proposals, and that brings way more valuable for us. Like, we don't want to create authorities. We actually want to make sure that there's someone close to you that can support you in your journey as a student.
Definitely, so true. An interesting question over here. Yes, I know that. One was a GitHub Campus Expert before, and yes, so inspirational journey, and I would love to know how was your experience.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna take like the last 20 minutes of this call, like talking about this, but well, I can talk like for ages. But I think I was very lucky, and a lot of the people that I know that can like do the same work that I do, or kind of like are involved in community. A lot of the work, a lot of the kind of like the opportunities that you get in life are because you are in the right place at the right time with the right people. And I remember that when kind of like the campus expert program started, it was because I knew Joe Nash from MLH, which I knew John and Swift from MLH when MLH was like a 6 people thing that it was very like just starting. Uh, and I met them because I met a friend on a meetup, and then so we kind of like started connecting like all the dots, and that's how I ended up meeting Joe Nash, who at that time he was, well, when I met him the first time, he was managing the UK league for MLH, and well, not managing, but he was part of like the UK team in the MLH team. And I when I stopped working for MLH, which meant that I know a lot of community leaders might feel like me, but I dedicated too much time into all things except college. So I was very happy. Like I was traveling every weekend. I was meeting some really cool folks, and then I got to a point where I needed to take a decision if I wanted to continue with my career or if I wanted just to stop studying. And as cool as it sounds, in and probably your audience might feel this as well, but in Mexico, you're not able to get to work in the US unless you have a degree. That's kind of like the minimum requirement. So for me, it was a point where I had to decide if I wanted to keep working as I was doing and kind of like enjoying what I was doing, or going back to college and finish my degree. And after like a ton of things, like it took me like a very long time, and I decided to go back to college and dedicate some time to studying and finishing my degree. And that's when I stopped working for MLH. But I think one of the cool things is that through my journey as I was the commissioner, kind of like what Dash was for APAC in MLH a few months ago. But I was the same thing, but like from Mexico, and I met like a ton of people that were doing some really cool stuff. And I believe that at that time hackathons were not a thing. So every time we wanted to organize a hackathon, like MX Hacks, which was the hackathon that we organized, was the first student hackathon in the country. So when we had to go with sponsors and being like, hey, we need sponsorship, and we this is this is a thing that you should be like supporting. And most companies didn't want to support the events because they thought like we were going to be hacking Mexico Central Bank or any kind of like company. Which was funny because our biggest sponsor, like the first time that we organized a hackathon, was a cybersecurity company. Um, which I guess they I mean they were happy with the result, but definitely it was not what they were expecting. Uh, but I kind of like went through all the struggles. Like we needed to tell the college that this was an event that was worth having. Uh, we had to convince sponsors. We need to tell people like what the culture was. So we did a lot of groundwork on what the current hackathon culture is in Mexico. I'm not saying that we did all the things, because there, of course there were like people before us that were also organizing Super Happy Dev House and other kind of like smaller events that were basically the seed before hackathons. So I kind of like stopped working for MLH, and that was like a super long deviation from the conversation. Um, but yeah, at the end, we kind of like set up what hackathons were for students in Mexico, and we started that culture, which for me it was super amazing to be able to support so many folks that were getting started with it. And I went back to school. I don't know how. Through my time as a commissioner, I met a few folks. One of them was one of the researchers that organized the first women-only hackathon in the country, and she was a researcher in the US. She invited me to collaborate in papers after I left MLH, and I had great opportunities to work in really cool research papers that I hope no one reads because they are horrible. But I did them, and the thing is, after that, I got a call from Joe. Joe just he left MLH. Then he was working at Braintree, which was which had the best hackathon in the world called Battle Hack. Like Battle Hack was the best hackathon I've ever been to, and but unfortunately it's no longer. Like if you won, you get an axe, like an actual axe that you can like as a trophy, which is super cool. But anyways, going back to the topic, uh, Joe Nash reaches out to me, told me that GitHub is launching a new program. I loved GitHub. I loved everything that they were doing, and I accepted to join. And I was part of the first batch of GitHub Campus Experts. And I think the program was very different because there were like 12 people at that time, and we were kind of like working through the program and kind of like helping Joe to um, set the foundations of the programs as we go. And then I kind of like we kind of like help out Joe. I started to promote the program in Latin America. It started to grow in the region, and then I noticed like I kind of like knew where the program was struggling. So you folks are not part of this, but the past like training was kind of like very hard to get a review because it took like a review of your training takes from 1 to 2 hours to review. So because we really want to make sure that you are getting set up for success with your community. But before, the program was so open that anybody could kind of like get the training, and uh, there was kind of like some. It was very hard to for Joe to review everything, so we jumped in and helped him review it and kind of like set up the process. Um, then we had GitHub Field Days, which I know you are very much aware of, but we had the first field day here in Mexico City, which is kind of like the best unconference you can attend to for any community student leader. And so I kind of like help out a little bit with that. And as time passed, like Joe and I were discussing starting to work for GitHub as an intern, and unfortunately, uh, I couldn't. Like we tried like for 3 years, and GitHub was not able to hire people from Mexico. So it was kind of like this horrible experience that I know many of you have gone through of applying and getting rejected. But like if you're lucky, at least you will get like reviewed. Your resume will be reviewed. My case was just like automatic rejection and automatic rejection and rejection, and then I it was very frustrating, and I got to a point where I started doing my own thing. I started my own consultancy company, and I was working on that. And then after the kind of like GitHub started to grow, and as it grew, they finally kind of like unlocked that possibility of uh, hiring people outside of the kind of countries that they had, and I got kind of like the golden ticket of being like, hey, do you want to be a program manager? And just was like, yes, I want to be. And I just like left everything that I was doing. It was hard because I had like clients, so I had to talk with clients at that time, being like, hey, unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to continue with this project, but thank you so much. They all understood what a cool opportunity it was. But yeah, I think for me, kind of like Campus Experts was a great way to connect with people from other countries, and be able to meet some of the people that you kind of like see that are building the type that you love and use. Being able to be like in that side, and I remember this very well when we went to GitHub Universe. That hopefully sometime we'll get in person GitHub Universe again. Um, but I remember I was having kind of like a someone invited us for dinner, and I was having lunch with uh kind of like the code owners of really big repos, and I was just like, oh my god, like I'm a student. I don't know what I can say that is interesting. I might just like shy myself into the corner and not say anything. But at the end, I had like a super great experience with all of them, and um, I think I learned a lot about demystifying these huge people that we have in tech, as kind of like they are people as well. Like they do their things outside of tech, and I think that was super valuable. So yeah, for me it was super cool to be part of the program. I got to meet people from the UK, and now every time that I travel, I have like someone that I can reach out to and see each other or just catch up. Actually, like a month ago, I was in Seattle, and I was walking through a park and I met John Famous, who was also a campus expert. And it was so weird because we just like stared at each other like for 3 minutes without saying anything, and I just like shared like, John, is that you? And he was just like, yeah. And we just like talked for,
That's awesome.
we took the rest of the evening, and you know, like I think those kind of things is very hard to replicate, and the fact that the program is not very typical in its sense, like we are not giving you like flyers to, and you need to bring like 100 people to GitHub to be a campus expert or any of that. Having that freedom of just like knowing that someone is supporting you when you organize stuff, I think that's kind of like the best way that, and that you can get supported by a company. It's not so much about like promoting a product or a brand, but it's rather how can we help you folks to become leaders, and in any way, like opinion leaders, community leaders, and the next generation of tech enthusiasts.
Definitely. Thanks a lot, Juan, for sharing that. It is indeed an inspirational journey for all of us, and we do have quite a lot to learn from you, and that is something we all are, resonating with. See, we definitely are so much proud of you.
Yeah. Now the cool part is like now being on the other side, to get to know like all the effort that is needed to have a program like Campus Experts. So uh, I would say like I'm very happy to be able to have like both perspectives, because otherwise I would believe that it would have been way harder for me to understand how things work.
Definitely. And I saw there was one more question. I'm not able to find it right now, but it was like, does the application needs to be very formal, or it should be something, right from your like in your own words or something like that?
I wouldn't say it needs to be formal. I'm not looking at the end. At the end, we wanted to have kind of like this genuine interaction with you, and this is kind of like the best way that we can have that. So if it's very formal, it kind of like loses that authenticity factor. And when you read about
Yeah.
that, you know, like when you read kind of like a tweet from someone, and you're just like, that doesn't sound like the same person that I know. It kind of like feels the same way. So my recommendation would be to apply to the program, and just like we're not looking for any fancy words. We're not um, we understand that for some people writing in English, which might not be your native language, is hard. And we do, even though like it's obvious that we can read like different kind of like levels of English, we do appreciate when people do the effort to submit an application.
Yeah,
Like that tells a whole new story about you.
definitely. And also on top of that, while writing the answers to the essay, is there any limit? Like, does it needs to be small or too long, or what are the
Yeah.
things they can add to the essay? So these are some common questions.
Yeah, so we have a limit of 1600 words. My recommendation is like try to summarize everything in 2 paragraphs. So first ask you about your community, and I think we add kind of like some questions in there about like what we want to read, right? So try to submit that in 2 paragraphs maximum. Of course, so it's just like any kind of like application process. Like short is great, but we need to have that short message needs to give enough context for us to understand the full picture. So uh, I would say just like do submit more than a tweet, but less than 1600 word. Well, I think it's characters or words. I don't remember. I think it's characters. That would be kind of like more than enough. I think our form doesn't allow you to submit more than that, so uh, that's also kind of like something to consider.
Absolutely. And having a word limit really matters, because that is when you start typing everything down, and then you realize, oh, there's a limit. So then you start thinking more about it and trying to keep only important things, right? So it is really important for you to understand what is important and what is something you should avoid sharing. So just focus on important things, and that would be good enough.
Yeah, I would
And
say if you can write like some of the things that we see a lot is how when we asked about the benefits of the program, try to think beyond swag and prices and sponsorship. Like, try to think beyond that. And I know swag is kind of like super cool, but I would love to know more about like how we can benefit you beyond sending you swag and all this stuff.
Definitely. Cool. Limit on how many times one can apply. I know it is at least three because I applied three times. But
I mean, that doesn't guarantee that you'll get selected on the third one, but definitely
yeah, true.
there's not a limit as long as you're a student and you comply with the minimum requirements. So um, I would say, yeah, what we've learned is kind of like some of the applicants get selected on the second or third attempt, uh, but just like, like keep applying as long as you can. And I don't know, you'll start learning how the program works. And if you continue, like, the thing is, don't make Campus Expert like one of the keystones of your community. If you are part of the community or of the program or not, you should still be growing your community and working with it. um, and like that's kind of like the best approach that we see when I think we see that we went through your application, and we actually saw you applied before. I knew you had reached out, which I don't know, like we saw kind of like the whole journey. And that's when it becomes kind of like very clear for us that there's a lot of interest and someone will do great in the program.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks a lot, Owen, for that. Awesome. Also, one more interesting question, which many people asked me that in India, basically, there are many colleges which do not have coding clubs, culture, or any community groups out there, and it really becomes difficult for students who really want to bring a change and want to help students out there. So the common question was that is it necessary for them to have a campus-based club, or if it's okay for them to start their own community by themselves?
It's okay to start your own community, but I mean, it is the GitHub Campus Experts program, so there should be like a campus or some sort of physical space. Um, but we'd love to know more about that. Like, if there's like more context to that, that's okay. There's like a couple of things. One, the we call them formal and informal community groups or just student groups. So a formal one is kind of like recognized by the college. An informal one is not recognized by the college yet. You're still kind of like on your right to gather with people and do stuff. So we are super open to having both, but it is important to have a campus or a group of people that you reunite with, uh, to start kind of like building that community. I kind of like, if it's on a campus, that's great. If not, I would love to read more about like what kind of community you're building. And I think Kunal is one of those folks that probably right now is not his community in his campus, but his community is like super big. So that's quite like where we go with formal and informal communities.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great point. And personally, I also believe that, unless and until you are able to explain what your community is all about, that would be fine because you really need to give the context about your community, even if it's not campus based, but you need to let the uh, let one by and GitHub know that uh, what is actually your community, what is the group of people, the target audience, the region you're focusing in, what are the shared struggles, and how are you trying to overcome them before applying. So that is
Yeah,
something you definitely keep in mind.
and also consider like reviewers probably don't know you, so they need to get a full context to understand you, your community, and why like if you will benefit from the program.
Yeah. One more commonly asked question that I am already part of various other student programs, and even then I'm getting rejected. What more, or what is something special should I do? But I'd love to
Mhm.
know your views on that.
I mean, there can be 1,000 programs, but we don't consider programs as a data point. I think we are adding that this year, or this application process, but we don't. It's kind of like for us to have a metric, but it's not something that we definitely take a decision upon. Um, I would say, I don't know, like I have weird feelings about like people who are part of like 10 different programs. Like we want to make sure that if you are a student and you're part of, if you're already part of like 10 programs, like how is the Campus Expert program going to be benefiting you that other programs are not doing already? And so the thing that I would recommend if you're already part of a lot of other programs is just mentioning, or uh, telling us why is it, why do you need the GitHub Campus Expert program, which is kind of like our new question in there, and how you're going to benefit from that. If and I don't know, I think being part of other programs does not necessarily mean that you will benefit from the Campus Expert program. So that's my only thought. It's okay, like if you're part of the student clubs or any kind of like other community, that's, or other program, that's okay. But just like, would love to know more about why are you applying to the campus expert program, and how is that going to benefit you that other programs don't do already.
Definitely, and I personally also feel that, for example, I do have some things up in my mind, and I want to implement them, or I want to work around implementing them. So I personally feel that one do not require any such role to do what you do want to do. But what happens is eventually there comes a point that when you really need someone to back you, and really, you know uh,
Mhm.
when there should be someone who can guide you or mentor you. And if you feel that becoming a GitHub Campus Expert can solve your struggle, or maybe give you that push with which you can complete your goal in helping your community, that is something, that is something which can be one of your motive to apply the same.
Mhm.
But with other programs, if you are already able to do that, and if there's something which GitHub, especially, explicitly, other than all those programs, if you think that GitHub can really add something to it, why not? Feel free to apply, and just let us know about that particular motive of yours, and would be definitely a great point to add.
Definitely, yeah.
Awesome. I already see so many folks still watching, and that's so good to see. Uh, feel free to add any more questions you might have, and that would be awesome. We'll definitely pick them up. We are already on time, but maybe 5 or 10 minutes more, and we'll pick that.
Yeah, really cool.
Oh, there's an interesting question here. Like anyone who is just beginning and did not have any community work experience in the past. So, what do you think on that?
um so like, if we don't have much community work, we won't get to, no. Okay, so that's why we have like these two groups. So we have the kind of like the ones that already have a community and they want to grow it, and the ones that are building a community from scratch. So we don't necessarily like want everyone to have a ton of experience, especially because there are a lot of cities where there are no communities, and we understand how important it is to have like the first one. So we are not requiring like any kind of specific experience with community work. And uh, we never asked that on the new application process. We did ask that for the last one, and it kind of like added a little bit of noise on, oh, should I have then experience building communities? And it's just like, not really want to learn more about that's why we removed that question, to be honest. But we never ask you for any experience on community work or community building. We don't ask for a CV or a resume. So yeah, so no, it's not necessary that you need to have. any experience.
Definitely feel free to go ahead and just let us know once again, that what's your motive to apply for that. And it will be nice to read more about it. And yes, one point which Karthik mentioned, learning from failures, that is something really essential. Most of the people do not understand that in very beginning when they start getting those failures. But I've been through that process, and one but just shared his journey, and that is something which will help a lot, in becoming better version of yourself. So make sure you do that and do not get demotivated after you fail.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, we all fail at one point, and you can either choose to fail and leave or fail and retry. So, but I don't know many people that have failed and leave and left the thing. So, would highly encourage you to keep applying, and you'll find a spot.
Yeah, cool. Deepak is asking around how many campus experts are selected for each cohort from India.
We don't have any specific number on each region, so I don't have a clear answer to that question. What I can tell you is that we have around 60 to 50 new campus experts in each new batch. A new video is coming out soon, probably next week, and it's going to be super cool about who our February batch is. But yeah, so we don't have any specific number there, so I can't answer to that question effectively.
I'm looking forward to seeing myself in that video, hopefully.
Oh my god, I just watched it. I just watched the video like on Friday, and it's
Oh,
so good. Like I'm super excited. I normally don't send gifs, like animated gifs on an email. I know it's just like this team deserves gifs on email. So yeah, it's really cool. Definitely looking forward to share that. I don't know if it's gonna be out this week, but in the next couple of weeks, it's gonna be out there.
awesome. I'm pretty excited for that. And, I'm sure Will said is as well.
Vince is part of the video too.
Awesome. I don't see any more questions as of now, but feel free to reach out to me. Please don't ping one by is very busy. I'm there if you have any questions. And I hope you all had a great time watching this stream. And we are super excited to welcome new applications as well, which starts on 9th August 7 p.m. It's PT, right? Uh, I'm not
it's
sure about the time zone.
it's opening Monday at 7 a.m. Pacific time. Um,
Cool.
we're all set now. So right now, if you go, you have like a button to subscribe. We're gonna be sending. So like this is a cool thing about being part of this live stream is we're gonna be sending like all communications, like massive communications, a couple of days after the application open. So you folks, like, now that you know that you can apply before other people get to know about the program, should take advantage of that. But yeah, open on May on May on August 9th, 7 a.m. Pacific time. I think it's something like around like 7 p.m. India time. I don't remember exactly what time, but
Not sure actually, but I'll quickly check. It's 7 p.m. Pacific time, right?
7 a.m. Pacific time.
Okay. So it might be 7:30 p.m. Yeah,
Huh.
Indian Standard
Time zones, I'm getting into them.
Time.
But yeah, apply and just like, should I just share it a bit? Like, if you don't get selected, it's not the end of the world. Uh, keep applying, and we'll see how things end up.
Definitely. And yes, thanks once again, everyone, for joining and being with us so far. We still have 35 watching now, and that's super awesome. And
We're good.
yes, one more interesting thing. Make sure you follow GitHub Education on Twitter for all the updates which they share. And we do have GitHub Stream Team as well. Coming up with awesome content every week with different streams. So make sure you follow that as well. That happens every week on different days with different campus experts and people from GitHub on Twitch, GitHub Education's Twitch channel. So make sure you follow that as well. A lot of the people in the audience do visit that every week. So me, one of them, me being one of them.
We fill the void when you're not there, Siddharth.
Oh, I feel terrible as well, back of the mind. It's like I'm not present over there. I should be.
Cool.
But yes, good luck everyone. Thanks for joining, and hope to see some new faces into the program. And feel free to reach out in case you have any queries. I'll be always there to help you out. And make sure you give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel in case you haven't yet. And you can take a quick picture. Maybe one part we can give them a pose so that they can
Sure.
take a quick picture. And yay. Awesome. Feel
Okay.
free to maybe just rewind the stream, take a picture. You can share it on socials. You can share what you have learned so that others who might have not joined the stream, they can learn something out from your tweet, from your post. And yeah, good luck once again. And we'll take a leave on this note. Thanks, Vanpa, once again for joining. It has been a wonderful pleasure having you and answering all those questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much for inviting me. And yeah, subscribe to Siddharth. If you don't, you'll get automatically rejected from the program. I won't let you pass unless you do it. So thank you so much for having me. I really enjoyed having the conversation and hope to see you all in the application process.
Yeah, likewise. Hello, everyone. Good night.